All right, for this week, we are going to be writing about a time when I get to go in the hallway. And remember, it's for this week, not today, but this week. And if you're at home, you should have a timer and have an adult set a timer for you for probably about 12 minutes or so, maybe 15 if you can handle it. And that should be as long as you work on it for the day, and then you should come back to it tomorrow. So that's about how long we would work on it at school. A time when I got to go in the hallway. So you should be thinking in your head about a time when I got to go in the hallway and what you did. And remember, our stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So when you're doing that, you're thinking about what you're going to put on every page. And something a good writer does is they talk about their story out loud. So you might be saying, we all had to line up at the door in number order. And then we started walking down the hall. We passed by the office. We went up a few stairs. We went behind curtains and got our picture taken. Oops, I have a little mark on there. Just make that go away. Whoop, there. We lined up and went back to class. The end. So see how I use my pages and I go over my story? You can always go over your story. It's always a great idea to go over it with an adult or a brother or sister or anybody that's around before you pick up your pencils and you start writing. Remember, we always do our stories in colored pencils and regular pencils, but not in crayons or markers. But today, Mrs. Spalding always teaches you something, right? So something we're going to talk about today is what makes our writing hard to read and easy to read. So if we were at school, I would be asking you to tell me what makes it hard to read and what makes it easy to read. So I have a couple ideas here that we're going to talk about. So what makes it hard to read? So our reading is really hard to read if there are no spaces. If our letters are all squishy together, then it makes it hard to read, right? Makes it hard to read if you did not write neatly. If you did not write neatly. Yep, we know that, right? People can't read your writing if it's sloppy. It's hard to read if it is not on the line. Here's something. Miss Kristen made this beautiful paper. And if you don't have this one, I'm sure you have something else. But for Mrs. Spalding's friends, you have this paper. And you can look at how your letters are on the lines. So you can see how your lowercase m goes between the butterflies and the grass, right? So if you just take your colored pencil and you just are slopping your letters all over the place and they're not on the line, it makes your writing hard to read. If you are not sounding out the words, if you're not stretching them out, it makes your writing hard to read. Hard to read. So, now let's look at some things that we should do to make our reading easy to read, easy for others, easy for moms and dads to read. Because even when your letters are squished together, you know, Mrs. Pauline can sometimes read them. And other kindergarten teachers can sometimes read them. But I want other adults to read them and your friends to read them. So to do that, to make it easy to read, we have to put spaces between our words. Okay? Spaces between words, it has to happen. We write a word, 2-finger space. So since I write with this hand, I use these 2 fingers to put my space so then I can keep writing. Okay? Put spaces between words that will make it easy to read. When you write on the line, when you write on the lines, it makes it easy to read. Use the lines. Look at these lines. The grass, the butterfly, the clouds, the worm, it's all there. So you can use them and you can use them the right way. We have been practicing our letters this year. You should know exactly how those letters go. But if we just throw words all over the paper and upside down and inside out, it will not be easy to read. So we want it easy to read right on the line. And of course, we have to write neatly. We have to have nice, neat letters. If we're trying to write a capital M and we don't do our slide and our slants, right? How am I going to know what letter that is if we're not writing neatly? And stretching out our words. You know, Miss Pauline always has a rubber band close. Stretch out every word. Every word you write, I want you to stretch it out and write all the sounds you hear. So when you stretch out the word, like line, line, all of those sounds, I want you to write all those sounds, put them together, because that's one word. Then you're going to put your 2-finger space before we stretch out our next word. Okay? Write all the sounds you hear. Those are the things that are going to make our writing easy to read. Okay? Put our spaces, use the lines, write neatly, stretch out our words, and write all the sounds we hear. And remember, you're writing about a time when you got to go in the hallway. Beginning, middle, end to your story. I'm looking for all of that.